It is theorized by some that alien-human hybridization programs have been happening for decades. Many believe that thousands, perhaps millions of alien abductions reported are somehow tied to this, while some speculate these beings might just be curious, such as a marine biologist tagging a shark. Others believe that the beings' intentions are much more nefarious. Some have speculated that these entities are creating a human-alien hybrid race that will eventually take over the planet. While the theory sounds ludicrous on the surface, there are interesting facts around these abductions that lend support to this theory. For example, we know many women alien abductees are abducted throughout their lives, and then the abductions seem to cease around their mid-40s, coincidentally around the same time as they are unable to have more children. In this episode, we will dive into a disturbing case of one woman's repeated abduction stories, the case of Terry Matthews. In 1970 in Paris, Illinois, Terry Matthews, then 22 years old, was driving home one evening when she would have an experience that would change her life forever. As Terry drove, she glanced off to the right and saw a gorgeous sunset on a crystal clear day. Then, bizarrely, in the next moments, the scenery around her suddenly changed. It was now very dark, and she found herself driving in a violent thunderstorm. She could barely see in front of her, and even more strange, it seemed as if something was pulling her car off to the right. For the next minute or so, she battled this invisible force, trying to keep her car on the road. Then, in an instant, a white flash appeared. The rain and storm stopped, and a confused Terry pulled over on the shoulder. She had no idea what had just happened. Terry was not injured in any way, but extremely confused over what had just happened to her. She got back on the road and began driving home. As she arrived home, Terry would be stunned to discover that she was over 2 hours late. Expected to be home at 8, it was now 10 p.m., and a confused Terry could not account for what had happened to her during those 2 hours. For years, Terry would continue to experience strange and frightening events in her life. She had strange bruises on her body and also other cases of missing time. She also saw several UFOs and nightmares so intense she believed them to be a memory of something. In sum, after much time, she came to the conclusion that she had been abducted by aliens. She couldn't recall much of what had happened to her though, and believed the beings had wiped her memory. Regardless, she wanted the truth, and Terry reached out to veteran UFO investigator David Jacobs. Jacobs was intrigued by Terry's story and suggested that hypnotic regression could possibly unlock some of these repressed memories. Jacob did warn her though that this could traumatize her and there would be no coming back once the memories were unlocked. Terry decided to press on, and Jacobs decided they should begin by trying to discover what happened on that drive home in 1970. As the hypnosis got underway, Terry would soon reveal that the weather drastically changed. She went on to say she pulled over the car, looked out the window, and saw a massive UFO that was silver colored. Then up ahead, Terry recalled seeing 6 gray aliens walking toward her. A terrified Terry jumped out of the car and ran, but as she started running away, she was suddenly hit with a bright white light. The next thing Terry recalled was being inside the spaceship. Things would go from bad to worse for Terry here. The beings told her to undress and also remove all her jewelry. She laid down and the beings would inform her that she was pregnant. According to Terry, they would take her baby and replace it with another one. It's not clear what happened to the baby that was put inside her womb. Terry did have children, but based on our research, it seems like this occurred after these events. As for the baby inside her womb, we speculate that the baby was a hybrid and taken from her. As the regressions continue, they became extremely traumatic for Terry. She recalled seeing her children on board the craft several times. This was especially difficult for her, knowing the trauma they were going through. Terry began to start recording herself sleeping around this time, and according to her, this appeared to have stopped the abductions. 3 years after the first hypnotic session was done, Jacobs and Terry would revisit what happened on that first encounter. Surprisingly, Terry was able to recall more from that night. More specifically, Terry recalled seeing a hybrid woman carrying a baby. She didn't look right to Terry, as she had big eyes and looked angry. Terry would go on to say the woman was holding a baby and put it in her arms, telling her that it was hers. Terry didn't believe them, as this baby was different. First, it looked very frail, and its skin didn't match that of a human baby, appearing pink with shades of gray. Also, its eyes were much bigger than a usual human baby, similar to the woman's. Terry would also describe the baby's eyes as wise, as the baby appeared to be cognizant as to what was going on, unlike a human baby at that age. Terry also noted it didn't behave like a human baby, as it didn't curl up to be held. It's important to note here that Terry had children and was familiar with caring for an infant. One final thing Terry noted was that when they pulled the baby away, Terry was overwhelmed with loss, and as a mother, she knew that that baby was hers. What can we make of Terry's story? Unfortunately, the story lacks any hard evidence or other witnesses, as it's based solely on Terry's statements and hypnotic regression. That said, it surely seems like this event could have happened to Terry, and her case has several interesting aspects to it. The first is generational abductions. Simply stated, UFO researchers have found a disturbing trend where if someone is abducted, usually a parent or child, or both, are taken as well. This happened to Terry in her story, and there are several theories as to why this happens. One is that there's something in the genetic makeup that these beings want or need. There's different schools of thought on this, with some believing that certain bloodlines are better for developing hybrid beings. A second theory is that certain genetic traits make abductees easier to take. Some speculate that certain genes make people more easy to hypnotize and wipe their memories. The second interesting thing this case covers is the alien-human hybridization program. Many believe that these entities are taking people for the purpose of creating a hybrid species. Jacobs himself has investigated several interesting cases in which abductees have reported having to teach hybrid children how to act human and blend into society. This includes things like going shopping, basic social interactions, and blending in. These cases are particularly interesting and something we will explore in future episodes. While a good number of UFO researchers believe a hybrid program is underway and has been for a long time, it raises a number of questions, such as why? What's the end game? David Jacobs has proposed that the true purpose behind these alien abductions is to create an alien-human hybrid race, one that will, in time, take over the planet undetected. Jacobs refers to this as a backdoor method, essentially meaning that when we finally discover what's happening, it will be too late and hybrids will be implanted throughout society. This concept was used in the 2013 TV show V, as the being's intentions were nefarious and they placed people in positions of power around the world. While Jacobs certainly has a terrifying perspective on this, many others feel that the being's purpose is not as malicious. Some suggest that these beings just want to understand human society and go out of their way, even not to traumatize people. They suggest that the memory wipes are done so that people won't have to live with the trauma. The medical experiments are done to understand us, and since they have the technology to perform these experiments and not damage us physically, they use it. As for hybrids, some feel that they are curious and want to experience our society. What one believes, though, is really a matter of opinion, as we simply don't know. That said, we know people are being taken, and that there seem to be a good number of medical procedures revolving around reproduction and reproductive systems. After years of hypnotic regressions with Jacobs, Terry would note that the abductions had stopped or significantly declined. By all accounts, Terry was able to move on and live a healthy and happy life.